What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mid-Level Media, and I got such a great response from you guys from my Arrow, showing off my Arrow collection, my Blu-ray collection video, part one is what I called it, that I decided to go ahead and jump on in to part two. And in this one, I'm going to cover maybe my favorite distribution company that I collect for, and that is Shout Factory Screen Factory. So if for those of y'all that do not know, Shout Factory Screen Factory, they do excellent work on just film restoration. In particular, they do really good work in horror, and they always have great presentation, great special features. They have great artwork on their cover. They always have reversible sleeves and just great work all around on those remasters. And they don't just do horror, they also do quite a bit of just regular old school movies from back in the day, just remastering those and bringing those out. And I have a couple of those in my collection, but for the sake of this video and my collection, I mostly collect from their horror line. So yeah, we're going to jump right into that. But before we do, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you please go ahead and like this video. Just click that like button, guys. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Just click it real quick for me. It's going to help this video out. It's going to help its performance out a lot better. And go ahead and at the end of this video, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Just what was your favorite Screen Factory release that I showed off today? What your favorite release is in general if you collect for them, and how many do you have in your collection? So, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Just click that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications for all the latest videos that are coming up. I got a lot of things planned for next week, including my two new shows, the Physical Media Report, which will be this Monday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is when I'm going to get that up. And then next Thursday, I've got my weekly horror show, The Haunting of Mid-Level. And that is going to be up at 11 o'clock a.m. on Thursday morning as well. So those two shows are going to start next week. Really excited about those, but let's get back into my collection videos. And we are doing part two today of my Blu-ray collection. And this is the Screen Factory Shout Factory line. So the first one that I want to go ahead and show off here, and I'm going to do something similar to what I did with Arrow. I'm just going to kind of maybe take these out of the case, show you all the artwork on the disc, maybe if it's got a poster in there, the reversible slipcovers, all that stuff. So here is the first one, guys, and it is a holiday release. And it is the first Screen Factory release that I bought, Silent Night, Deadly Night. So look at that cover. Isn't it beautiful? I'm going to try to do some close-up here just so y'all can see a little better. That is a gorgeous cover. And I saw this movie when I was really young. I used to go to the horror section video store, and I would just grab a new horror movie every week. And this series all the way to part four. I watched, I think, in a weekend. So I don't even know if it was Christmas time, but just an excellent release. Let's go ahead and open this up. Got some cool artwork on the disc, and yeah, Screen Factory does a great job. You know, we were talking about how Arrow does a great job, and Screen Factory is just right there with them in terms of just presentation and overall quality of their releases. Right there's a reversible cover art, and on most of their reversible cover art, they have the original poster, the original VHS artwork on it, so that is really cool as well. So that is Silent Night, Deadly Night. Let's move on to the next one, and that's a classic film that's directed by Rob Reiner. That's Misery, starring Kathy Bates and James Caan. Classic Stephen King adaptation. One of the greatest, probably, female performances, not even just in horror, but just in general, with Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes. But yeah, just a fantastic movie. I already got the reversible cover art out on that one, so right there. And there's some disc work right there to show off as well. So that is Misery. So, and I'm trying to show these off in order of when I purchased them. So I think these were the first two that I ever got. Let's move on to the next one, guys. This is a John Carpenter film, and that is In the Mouth of Madness. And this is arguably John Carpenter's last great horror film, I would say. Some could maybe argue that if they like vampires or Ghosts of Mars, but this to me was probably his last really great one. And, it's starring Sam Neill, who was just on fire in the 90s when it came to horror, between that and Event Horizon. And there's the original artwork on that one. go ahead and show the disc. The disc on this one just has the Scream Factory stuff. Right back here, I can kind of zoom in on some special features, and Scream Factory just does an excellent job with all of its special features. Excellent work. So let's move on to the next one, guys. This one's not really a classic. It's kind of a schlocky B-level horror movie that was based on a video game that came out in 2006, and this is Silent Hill. But that cover is awesome. As soon as I saw it, I'm a huge fan of the games, so just this cover alone is incredible, and the movie's okay. I did rewatch it when I bought it. It's fine. It's not my favorite as far as adaptations. Video game adaptations don't never really live up to the video game, and that one was no different to me, but I know several people who love it. Let's move on to the next one, guys. And he's been popping up in the news recently for directing the new Doctor Strange film, potentially, maybe, but this is Sam Raimi's 2009 film Drag Me to Hell. And I watched this one recently as well, and this one holds up. It is a good movie. I really enjoy that movie. Kind of a throwback to his old school days at Evil Dead. And that's the cover art. A lot of these ones I already reversed myself, so I shouldn't have to do it again. The disc work. Maybe zoom in on some of the special features. Try to get that for y'all. I know I'm doing it kind of quick, but if you're really interested, you can pause it, take a look at it. Alright guys, let's move on to another holiday classic horror movie, and that is Valentine. And I bought this one last year around Valentine's Day. That's when it came out. I think it was last February. And I was pretty fond of this movie when it came out back in the early 2000s. You know, stars Denise Richards, Marley Shelton, Katherine Heigl. A lot of those young actresses who were really famous back in the early 2000s were in this movie. And this is a fun slasher movie. It's a really fun slasher. It's nothing great, but it's a fun movie. It's kind of a, murder mystery type, and you got to guess who did it. And it kind of, in my mind, it was maybe the last of that era of early to mid 90s slasher that kind of Scream made so popular. It was the last of those movies that was kind of riding the coattails of Scream, was Valentine. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was it. But here's the artwork on this one, so that's real cool. I love the fact that they use the original posters. Right there's the disc work. And it looks like on all their newer ones, they use the Scream Factory cover for the disc artwork, is what I've been noticing. So let's move on to another movie that was, this one came out in, I believe, 1998, and it's a slasher in the vein of Scream, another one that kind of followed that Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer type horror feel, and that is Urban Legends. But this one had a unique spin on it, with the killer kind of adopting the urban myths and stuff like that, stories that you would know from your childhood and stuff like that. And I was a huge fan of this movie. I still have it on VHS. I watched it all the time. It's got a great cast. It's really fun. It still holds up to me, but it could be a lot of nostalgia. But yeah, it's still a great movie. And this is actually, I do have the VHS, so I can confirm that that's the same artwork as the VHS and the old school poster of this movie. So that's really cool. And we'll zoom in on the special features. And there we go, guys. And we're burning through these. And I've got a lot of Scream Factories in my collections to go through. So we're just getting started. All right. This next one is, this to me is, if not the most underrated, but it's one of the most underrated, maybe top 10 most underrated horror films. And I watched it again, and I think this movie is borderline masterpiece. I don't think it's not my top 10 horror film of all time. I don't think it's the best, but it's like right there. It's a masterpiece level to me. And it was supposed to be getting a remake this year. I haven't heard the details on when it was delayed to, but it's Candyman. And that cover is amazing. And it's got another cover. This one actually came with 2 slip covers, which I don't have that one on me right now. But if I showed this part, that's the original poster work. And I think the other slip cover, that cover is on the front of this one. So I'll flip that and show it off. So that's what's on the actual Scream Factory cover. and this is kind of an alternate cover, and then you have the original Blu-ray cover. So this was an incredible set. And I actually did watch all the special features on this one because I was really interested in the film, just the behind the scenes stuff and how it was made. And it's got a lot of really good stuff and behind the scenes interviews. And it's got Tony Todd on there talking, Virginia Madison. And this is probably one of my favorite Scream Factory releases and definitely one of my favorite films in this stack. So it's an excellent movie. And it's not just an excellent movie for a 90s horror. Like, this movie stands the test of time to me. And I'm really looking forward to the remake, and hopefully it gets a release date sometime. Whenever we get back to the theaters, maybe they can do it in October. But let's move on, guys, to the next one. And this is another Stephen King adaptation, and that is Firestarter, starring Drew Barrymore. And this is post E.T. I think this came out in 1984. So that was a couple years after E.T., so Drew Barrymore was still small. And if you want to know where the inspiration for Stranger Things came from, it was definitely from Firestarter. Like, there's so much Stranger Things in this movie, it's not even funny. Like, it almost feels like Stranger Things completely ripped this movie off. But yeah, Drew Barrymore is basically 11 in this movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty cool. Just Drew Barrymore and the story, and it is a horror movie, I would say, but it's also it's very reminiscent of an X-Men type story, and just kind of like she's got telekinetic powers and pyro abilities, and it's a cool story. I would say it's a little bit more sci-fi than it is horror, but that is Firestarter. And let's move on to these, and these next ones that I'm going to go over. Go ahead and bring this one out. They don't really have specialty covers on them, but they were released by Scream Factory. And the first one, and I haven't got around to watching it yet, I picked it up a few weeks ago, but that's The House That Jack Built, starring Matt Dillon. So like I said, I haven't got a chance to watch this, and haven't watched every film in this stack, but I'll let y'all know which ones I haven't watched. But as for, special features, it doesn't really have a lot. And this is kind of from their... Scream Factory's got multiple different lines. Like, they got the cool, like, slipcover artwork ones, and then they just release films like normal, just regular looking films. And, you can find a lot of them in Walmart. And this next one, and this actually is a really good movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which came out in 2016. And the same director that did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Andre Overdale. And yeah, this is a really effective, just moody, atmospheric horror film. And it stars Brian Cox, who is an excellent actor. I don't know if anybody watched Succession on HBO, but he's phenomenal on that show. He's really good in this, and Emile Hirsch is in it. And it's them two in a morgue with a dead body of a girl all night, and spooky shit happens. And it's an excellent movie. And it's something that I need to watch again and kind of cover again, maybe on my new horror show. But that's The Autopsy of Jane Doe. No reversible cover on that one. And these other two are DVDs that I have. This one's Pyewacket, which it's a decent horror movie. I think it came out in 2018 is when I bought it. That was back when I was kind of browsing the horror section. Walmart every week comes out with like 10 new horror DVDs in their DVD section. Every now and then I'll buy one that looks interesting. A lot of the times I won't even watch them, but I did watch Pyewacket, and that was good. And here's another one. This one's The Midnight Man. It has Lynn Shay in it and Robert Englund. And I have been meaning to watch this one for a while. I've heard some pretty decent things about it, but it's another one of those low budget, straight to Walmart DVD shelves movies that I haven't got a chance to watch yet. But those are the only two DVDs in that stack. So we're going to move on back to the cool artwork ones. And these next couple, I don't have slipcovers for, which is kind of disappointing. Sometimes I'll order them off of Amazon, and it's, sometimes you get the slipcover from Amazon, sometimes you don't. And these two I didn't get them from. But this one is Night of the Demons. And I watched this one last year for my 31 Days of Horror challenge. And this one was a really effective, cool, scary, haunted house type movie with monsters and demons, and it reminded me a lot of Evil Dead. And yeah, it's an effective horror movie. I definitely recommend it. And I haven't seen any of the sequels. I know there are some, but Night of the Demons is a good horror movie, good 80s horror movie. This next one is a classic that many love. It's another John Carpenter film starring Rowdy Roddy Piper, and it is called They Live. And this one not really horror, I would say, kind of horror, but it's mostly sci-fi action. And yeah, this one's great. I really enjoyed watching it. I watched it for the first time last year, actually. And Roddy Piper's great. Everybody in it's great. It's got a cool concept, and yeah, great movie. And let's move on to probably one of the only ones that I have from the Shout Factory line. Can't talk. The Shout Factory line that they have, and this is back when I was trying to collect a lot of Stallone films, but the Stallone's Cobra. I still need to watch this one. Haven't watched it yet, but that's got a cool cover on that one. And let's see if it's got a reversible. I don't know if this one's got a reversible or not. No, this one actually doesn't have a reversible cover. But it does have some special features that I'm going to zoom in on right there for you guys. So if you're a Stallone fan, that's definitely a must-have. I still need to get Cliffhanger on 4K. I'm a huge Stallone fan. He's one of my favorites. Rocky, Rambo, favorites of all time right there. All right, guys, so let's move on to, and a lot of these ones I picked up pretty recently, but I'm going to go ahead and go over this one because it's not really horror, but it's more sci-fi, and that's John Carpenter's Starman. And I'm pretty sure every film that John Carpenter has done is in the Scream Factory line. I could be wrong, but after Vampires, it might have to release Ghost of Mars. But beyond that, I think everyone has a Scream Factory release. Maybe not Halloween, but I know Halloween 2 and 3 does. But this is a pretty cool sci-fi adventure film starring Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen, and I watched it last year for my 1984 series, and it was pretty good. I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite movies, but it was decent, and I already have the reversible cover art on this one. Right there, you got some special features, and I actually did watch the special features for this one because I love Jeff Bridges, and I was interested to see what he had to say about the movie so long after he made it, and yeah, it was a pretty cool interview from him on there. Alright, guys, I got 3 left. These are all horror titles. Some of them I've seen, some of them I have not. I'm going to save the best for last like I did on my last one. This one is Pet Sematary 2, and I bought this one a few weeks ago as well. I think it came out back in February, if I'm not mistaken. But I've heard horrible things about this movie. It's not good at all, but I went ahead and bought it because I'm interested in it. I don't know why that won't focus. Alright, so that's Pet Sematary 2. You got the cover art right there, the old school cover art. This one has Edward Furlong in it. John Connor himself. Alright. So let's go ahead and zoom through this next one. You got Silver Bullet. And I actually did an unboxing of this one on my channel back in December when it came out. And I haven't got a chance to watch it yet. So imagine that. It seems to be the theme of the stack. I've watched most of them though, I think. And there you go. That original artwork. So cool. Scream Factory is one of the best, guys. If you do not collect for them, I definitely highly recommend it. Alright guys, this last one is the ultimate. It is kind of a big box collection. It is my favorite of all the Scream Factory releases. And next to Candyman, I would say it's my favorite movie of this whole collection. And that is Creepshow. If you have not seen Creepshow, it is another one that is based on Stephen King's work. It is directed by George A. Romero, a legend in the horror field. So that is like a match made in heaven right there. And it is one of the best horror anthologies, probably the template for the horror anthology. And what it would become. Movies like Trick or Treat, VHS, just the types of movies that come out today. And yeah, this is an excellent movie. This is an excellent presentation. Here's the old school artwork on the disc, which is awesome. Right down here, I'm going to zoom in on some special features. Yeah, this has Leslie Nielsen, Ted Danson, Stephen King actually acts in one of the sequences. Like, this is an amazing. If you have not seen Creepshow, like, you've got to get out there and watch Creepshow. It's one of the best. If you like horror, like, what's wrong with you if you haven't seen Creepshow? And just like the Arrow presentation, like, this is an actual pretty sturdy slipcover. I'm going to go ahead and hit that case right there. Let's see, it's got a little booklet in there. So cool. I love this release. One of my favorites. One of my absolute favorites. So that does it for my Scream Factory collection, guys. Thank you all for sitting with me for so long, and we're going on a little over 20 minutes right now. I might trim a little bit out, but not much because I showed off my whole collection. So right here I have, let's see, how many did I show off? That's exactly 20 titles that I just showed off, and I see so many people on Instagram and stuff, like they show off their Scream Factories and there's like hundreds of them, and I wish I could get to that level. But as for right now, all I have is 20 guys to talk about here today for you all. But that'll do it for my video, guys. I hope you all liked it, and more Blu-ray collection videos to come. I'm going to go ahead and try to get through my entire collection. And, I've got all my steelbooks I'm going to do. I'm going to do my whole 4K collection. I'm going to do some horror DVDs. Might even do my VHSs. I'm not sure. And it's all going to culminate in the big Blu-ray collection, which might be an hour, hour and a half long, depending on how long it takes. But I'm going to go through every Blu-ray in one video. But, yeah, that'll do it for my second collection video, part 2. Go ahead and like this video. Comment down below what was your favorite Scream Factory that you saw here on this video today. Subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time.